I watch him play, it is so smooth, it's so silky.
His vision is magnificent.
He's a beautiful player. For me, that is an absolute unbelievable football player, and I think the best player in the league. Very different than just talented. This is real class.
You know, going to Real Madrid at 16, going on loan to Sociedad, which sort of give him the confidence. Then you bring him into Arsenal, and then after a year or two, you make him captain. So Arteta recognises the player and the character, and he's a beautiful footballer to watch.
I think he knits everything together.
A playmaker capable of creating something out of nothing. Someone who truly understands what it means to be a gunner. So how did Arsenal manage to steal Martin Ødegaard to replace the once untouchable Mesut Ozil? 44 goals and 75 assists in all competitions, Mesut Ozil was magical at Arsenal, especially in his first few seasons. 7 goals and 13 assists in his first season, then 20 assists in his third, then 12 goals and 14 assists in 2017. The vision, the touch, the class he was showing. Arsenal fans thought he would be irreplaceable. But what if I told you, in 2021, Arsenal found someone even better from the same club that they got Ozil? Arsenal is a massive club with a rich history. In the past few years, stars and youngsters didn't understand what it meant to play for Arsenal. Ozil was one of them. Nobody doubted his talent. He had some incredible moments with some Arsenal teams that weren't the best. Had Giroud been able to actually finish his chances, Ozil probably would have broken the Premier League assist record. He helped Arsenal end their trophy drought, and on his day was a joy to watch. But things such as fighting with Mertesacker because he didn't thank the traveling supporters after a 6-3 defeat at Manchester City, along with his low defensive work rate, definitely rubbed people the wrong way.
Common criticism of you, and this perception is that you're a lazy player.
He don't track back. He's the laziest player in the team. Let's be real now. Yeah? He's the laziest player in the team, blood. But because we've got Ozil, he gets a blind.
He was not the player who really typically fighted for the ball.
You didn't see the work rate that English football fans also, like to see.
At times, Ozil looked disinterested, especially when he didn't have the ball. His form was also inconsistent. He would go on a run of games where he was playing at the highest level imaginable, and then for a next run of games, would disappear. When Arsenal won, he was the best player on the pitch, but when they had lost, it was usually due to him being invisible.
Things weren't going well, you tended not to see him at all in the game.
When things are not working well in his way, I think he was not easy to handle. And
as time went on, his prima donna attitude was harder to justify, as his output on the pitch wasn't the same. He was never the type of player to press a lot, or have a really high defensive work rate, or even be willing to do the dirty work in the center of the park. His unwillingness to accept Arteta's non-negotiables was the final straw in his Arsenal career. But Odegaard is pretty much the complete opposite. He saw Arteta's vision early, and understood that Arsenal is one of the most stable clubs in England.
Spoke to him before coming here, of course, so that was very important for me, and he seems like a top manager, and I really liked his ideas, the way he sees football, and also the way he is, so he gave me a great feeling, and that was important for me.
A lot of people claim that the fall of Ozil came from the number 10 role slowly disappearing from the game as teams transitioned to using more pressing and running as opposed to having a traditional playmaker. But Odegaard is showing that role isn't gone, it's just changed. He picked up 15 goals and 7 assists in the 2023 season, then followed it up with an 11 goal and 11 assist season in 2024, as he led the Gunners to challenge for the Premier League title in back-to-back seasons. Odegaard became the first player on record since 2004 to complete 100 plus passes, create at least 5 chances, and assist multiple goals in the same Premier League match. The left foot, the ability to get out of tight spaces, the vision. Odegaard's style of play is very Ozil-esque. He ended the 2024 season as the player with the most chances created from open play in the Premier League. Some of the passes Odegaard can find are insane, and throughout the years, he has developed a shot, so when he gets it on his left foot, he is a goal threat as well. Now you might argue that Ozil could do all of these things as well, but what gives Odegaard the edge is that he had all the intangibles.
But if I have to use him as an example for the rest of the team, is what he does without the ball. He's one of our most talented players, the way he tracks back, the way he runs.
He presses for 90 minutes, he works for the team. It's why he was given the captain's armband early in his Arsenal career, and why he is also the captain of the Norwegian national team. He fires up the crowd, encourages his teammates. Even if he isn't performing at his best, he can impact the team in multiple different ways. He can elevate their performance. It's not a surprise that he won Arsenal's Player of the Season back-to-back. Odegaard can lead a team in a way that Ozil was never able to. It could be Odegaard's journey to the top that led him to develop in ways that Ozil never did. You see, Ozil rose through the ranks in Germany quite seamlessly, really coming into the spotlight after the 2010 World Cup. Odegaard, on the other hand, was a talent from Norway, a country not famously known for producing top-level footballers. You might now see the likes of Erling Haaland and Oscar Bob, but it's still a rare sight to see. Odegaard is considered one of the very best midfielders in the world, but at one point, he was about to be added to the list of teenage superstars who never fulfilled their potential.
Did you ever let some of that get to you when people were perhaps even calling you a flop because you haven't been able to show them exactly what you were about? I mean, how do you deal with that as a young player?
Early in his career, there was a lot of hype around Odegaard. At a young age, he was already playing with older kids. He was seen as a prodigy, being included in the first team at the age of 15 without even having signed a professional contract. Aged 15 years and 118 days, he became the youngest footballer ever to play in the Type Ligue 1. He made his league debut on the 13th of April 2014. 11 days later, he scored his first professional goal and became the youngest goal scorer in the league, when he scored the fourth goal in a 4-1 home victory. He was so good that established players like John Arne Riise demanded that he be called up to the Norway national team. 5 goals and 7 assists in 23 appearances for Strømsgodset, the world was beginning to take notice of his talent. Called the Norwegian Messi due to his magical left foot and style of play, Real Madrid came calling. They signed him for €4 million with add-ons that could rise up to $8.5 million. Real Madrid announced that Odegaard would train with both the club's first team and the reserves. The hype for this transfer was crazy. It was everywhere, from TV to social media.
It was the second coming of Messi, almost. He was that good.
But the excitement of the move came to an end very quickly. In April, Odegaard was dropped from Real Madrid Castilla after a run of 4 defeats, with staff finding problems with him training with the first team while playing for the reserves, in addition to a language barrier. Ancelotti urged fans to be patient as Odegaard settles in a new country. He was called up for the matchday squad after injuries to Bale, Modric and Benzema, but he didn't feature in the match. On the 23rd of May, the final game of the season, he finally got his chance, coming on as a sub against Getafe. He became the youngest debutant in the history of the club at 16 years and 157 days old. At the same time, he was finally becoming a regular starter at Castilla. However, these performances were not considered good enough for Los Blancos. In an effort to help Odegaard's development, he was sent on loan to Dutch club SC Heerenveen. He himself told Fox Sports that he was pleased to change his surroundings, hoping that the time away from the attention of media and fans would allow him to improve his ability. But even in a new environment, Odegaard couldn't get on the right track. His start to his time at Heerenveen was poor, having only 1 shot and 1 assist in his first 7 games.
Actually quite disheartening to see Odegaard not quite live up to the hype that was surrounding him at the time.
And he was later pushed to the substitutes bench by manager Jurgen Streppel. In 2018, he became a regular starter, but his performances were still far away from the expectations that people had, especially for a guy who was considered the Norwegian Messi. He was loaned out again from Real Madrid, this time to Vitesse. Like other youngsters who were hyped too early, like Hakim Mestur and Halilovic, it seemed that Odegaard was on the same path. A youngster that was hyped too much, too early potentially, and maybe even made a jump to a big club too soon. But what separated Odegaard from the other youngsters that had flopped in the past was his mentality. He was strong and pushed through, really shining at Vitesse. He got 11 goals and 12 assists in his 1 season there and was also voted as the club's best player of the season by the fans. The next season he was loaned out again, but he maintained his good form at Real Sociedad. He put on a man-of-the-match performance against Atletico Madrid and was named the La Liga Player of the Month for September. In February, he actually scored against Real Madrid, eliminating his parent club from the Copa del Rey. Sociedad had a very successful season, winning the Copa del Rey and clinching a Europa League spot. Fun fact, Odegaard was teammates with Mikel Merino at his time at Sociedad, with the 2 players being reunited again at Arsenal. Odegaard was now in great form, and while he might not be playing at the level that people expected for somebody that was considered a prodigy, it was obvious that he was no flop. After 2 successful loan stints, Odegaard made it very clear to Real Madrid that he wanted to leave. He wanted stability and consistent first-team football. He ended up joining Arsenal on loan as Arteta saw the Norwegian as the solution to the creativity issues at Arsenal.
He made us better. We needed more options, alternatives, creativity.
Especially since at this time it was clear that Ozil was not part of Arteta's plans. Arteta had seen something in Odegaard and he was right. Odegaard looked fantastic in the 6 months he was at London. He scored a 20-yard strike against Olympiacos, scored his first Premier League goal in the North London derby, and was voted Arsenal's Player of the Month for March. It should come as no surprise that Odegaard was signed permanently by Arsenal in the summer of 2021. Odegaard continued to shine in an Arsenal team that was quite inconsistent. Arteta was early in his Arsenal project. He was trying to make his own stamp, but was also trying to get rid of the deadwood at the club. Odegaard, though, was very much part of his plan, as he was named the new captain of the Gunners after the departure of Aubameyang and Lacazette.
But what I've seen over the last 18 months that he's been at the club with us, that he represents the values of this football club, of this team, of his teammates and staff in the best possible way.
Ever since that moment, Odegaard has only gotten better and better. His first season as captain, he got 15 goals and 7 assists in all competitions, as Arsenal shocked everyone by jumping from 5th place the season before to becoming title contenders. Odegaard was awarded the Premier League Player of the Year award at the 2023 London Football Awards and included in the PFA Team of the Year. Arsenal had signed Ozil as an established star, but with Odegaard, they were developing their own star. The next season, his good form continued as he was voted into the PFA Team of the Year. The elegance Odegaard plays with, the creativity, the magical touch, it's a joy to watch. But what makes him even better is that while he's a creative playmaker so good on the ball, he's not afraid to do the dirty work in midfield as well. That's what separates him from a guy like Ozil. The German only looked interested when he was on the ball, and in certain games if things weren't going his way or Arsenal weren't playing well as a team, he wasn't able to push through that resistance. Arsenal is a massive club that everybody would love to play for. The ones that understand that end up legends like Vieira and Henry. Odegaard is on that path. He's been the face of the Arteta revolution as the Spaniard tries to bring the glory days back to Arsenal. To see how Arteta has revolutionized Arsenal from a team that was missing out on European football to becoming title contenders, you have to check out this video right here.